When Erich Fromm published Psychoanalysis and Religion in 1950, he wasn't just adding another book to the shelf of psychology. He was trying to tackle a problem that cuts right into the core of human life. Why do we need religion? And what role does it play in shaping our minds? Fromm believed that human beings, unlike animals, are conscious of themselves. We know we're alive, we know we're separate, and we know one day we'll die. This awareness gives us freedom, but it also leaves us with deep insecurity. We crave a sense of meaning, a structure that tells us who we are and why we exist. Religion, in its many forms, grows out of this need. Now, here's the twist. When Fromm says religion, he doesn't just mean belief in God, churches, or temples. His definition is much wider. A religion is any system of thought and practice shared by a community that gives people a framework of orientation and an object of devotion. By this definition, Christianity and Buddhism are religions, yes, but so are nationalism, communism, or even the worship of money and success. If something tells you how to live and demands your devotion, it's a religion in Fromm's sense. This way of looking at things allows Fromm to ask a new question. Not, is religion true? But, what kind of effect does this religion have on the human personality? Does it crush the individual's freedom and potential, or does it nurture growth and love? Fromm makes a powerful distinction here. He says there are two main types of religion. Example, authoritarian religion built on the idea that humans are small, weak, and sinful. God, or the ultimate authority, is seen as all-powerful, while humans must submit completely. The highest virtue is obedience, and the greatest sin is doubt or rebellion. This kind of religion creates guilt, fear, and dependency. It discourages people from thinking for themselves, turning them into passive subjects. Last but not least, humanistic religion, based on the idea that human beings have dignity and inner strength. God, or the symbol of the divine, represents the highest possibilities of love, reason, and creativity. Instead of demanding obedience, it calls on people to grow, to transform themselves, to realize their full humanity. Examples include the teachings of Buddha, certain strands of Judaism and Christianity, and mystical traditions that emphasize compassion and self-realization. This contrast, authoritarian versus humanistic, is central to Fromm's book. He argues that authoritarian religion enslaves people, while humanistic religion helps them become more free, more loving, and more human. Fromm takes issue with Freud here. Freud saw all religion as illusion, a collective neurosis born from humanity's infantile need for a protective father figure. In Freud's view, religion was something people had to outgrow if they wanted to be healthy and rational. Fromm partly agreed. He admitted that many forms of religion do trap people in dependency and fear. But he thought Freud was throwing the baby out with the bathwater. By rejecting all religion, Freud ignored its potential as a source of strength, hope, and growth. So what does psychoanalysis have to do with all this? For Fromm, psychoanalysis and humanistic religion are actually partners. Both aim to uncover truth, to free people from illusions, and to help them live more fully. Psychoanalysis does this by exploring the unconscious, exposing hidden fears and desires. Humanistic religion does this by pointing to values like love, compassion, and creativity. Together, they can guide people toward maturity and freedom. Another important idea in this book is that modern society is far from secular. Even in an age where many people no longer attend church, we are surrounded by hidden religions. Fromm points out the worship of money, the cult of success, the blind faith in technology, and the devotion to political ideologies. These are religions too, because they provide orientation and objects of devotion. The question isn't whether we are religious, but what we are religious about. If people sacrifice their lives to chase profit, fame, or power, are they really so different from ancient idol worshippers? Fromm's definition forces us to ask personal questions. What do I worship? Where do I place my ultimate concern? Does my devotion make me more alive, or does it make me smaller? For Fromm, the danger is not religion itself, but the wrong kind of religion. Humanity cannot live without orientation and devotion. That's part of our nature. The issue is whether our religion supports freedom and love, or whether it demands obedience and submission. Authoritarian religion turns people into children, afraid and dependent. Humanistic religion helps people grow into their full humanity. In laying this foundation, Fromm makes a bold claim: psychoanalysis must look beyond the individual patient on the couch. It must also diagnose the collective neuroses of society, the way whole cultures get trapped by false gods, authoritarian systems, and destructive forms of worship. Only then can we understand the deeper illnesses of our time. This is where part 1 of Psychoanalysis and Religion leaves us, with a redefined idea of religion, a distinction between authoritarian and humanistic faith, and the suggestion that psychoanalysis itself has a role in guiding humanity toward a healthier spiritual life. Part 2. In Part 1, we saw how Fromm drew a sharp line between authoritarian religion, which enslaves, and humanistic religion, which frees. But Fromm didn't stop at definitions. He wanted to show why this distinction matters for both psychology and society. Part 2 of his argument digs deeper into the relationship between Freud's critique of religion and Fromm's alternative vision. Sigmund Freud, the founder of psychoanalysis, had little patience for religion. To Freud, religion was essentially a mass delusion, a kind of childhood fantasy scaled up to fit entire civilizations. In his famous book The Future of an Illusion, 1927, Freud argued that religious beliefs were projections of infantile wishes: the longing for a father figure, the fear of death, and the desire for protection. Religion soothed these anxieties by inventing a God who loves, punishes, and reassures. But the price was high. Believers remained psychologically immature, clinging to illusions instead of facing reality. Freud's solution was clear. Humanity had to outgrow religion, just as a child eventually outgrows dependence on a parent. Fromm agreed with part of this diagnosis, but he thought Freud's dismissal was too quick. Yes, many forms of religion are illusions, especially authoritarian systems that demand blind obedience. But Fromm argued that Freud misunderstood the deeper role of religion. By treating all religion as illusion, Freud missed the possibility that religion could also represent humanity's striving toward growth, compassion, and meaning. In other words, Freud saw only the pathology of religion, not its potential for health. This disagreement reveals a larger difference between Freud and Fromm. Freud's psychoanalysis was largely negative. It sought to uncover neuroses, expose illusions, and help people adjust to reality. Fromm's psychoanalysis was more positive. It sought to uncover hidden strengths, awaken love, and guide people toward greater freedom. Where Freud often reduced human experience to instinctual drives, sex, aggression, fear, Fromm insisted on the importance of values, ethics, and the human capacity for transcendence. In Psychoanalysis and Religion, Fromm takes the bold step of saying that psychoanalysis and humanistic religion actually share the same mission. Both are concerned with liberating the individual from fear and dependency. Both aim to help people find inner freedom and love. Both challenge the idols of authoritarianism, whether those idols are religious dogmas, political leaders, or social conventions. To explain this, Fromm uses one of his most powerful ideas: the object of devotion. Every human being, he argued, is devoted to something. We cannot live without orientation and focus. If we do not consciously choose our object of devotion, we unconsciously fall into worship of false idols: money, power, status, technology, or the state. Psychoanalysis exposes these hidden devotions and reveals the price we pay for them. Humanistic religion, in turn, offers healthier alternatives, objects of devotion that lead to love, creativity, and maturity. Take the modern worship of success as an example. In capitalist society, many people devote their lives to climbing ladders, gaining wealth, and proving themselves through possessions. This religion gives orientation. It tells you what to do each day, what to value, and what to sacrifice for. But it often leaves people empty, alienated, and restless. It is, in Fromm's terms, a destructive religion, even if it doesn't look like religion in the traditional sense. Psychoanalysis can reveal the hidden anxiety behind this devotion, while humanistic religion can point toward a healthier path: devotion to truth, justice, love, and community. Another major theme in this section of Fromm's work is freedom versus submission. Authoritarian religion thrives on people's fear of freedom. To be truly free means to stand alone, to take responsibility for one's own life, and to live without absolute guarantees. This is terrifying. So many people escape into systems that promise certainty, an all-knowing God, an infallible leader, an unquestionable ideology. Fromm calls this the escape from freedom, the same theme he explored in his earlier book by that title. Humanistic religion, by contrast, helps people embrace freedom by grounding them in love and reason rather than fear. Fromm's psychoanalytic lens also allowed him to reinterpret traditional religious symbols. For instance, he argued that biblical or mystical images of God should not be read literally as descriptions of a supernatural being. Instead, they can be understood symbolically as expressions of human aspiration. When the Bible says that humans are made in the image of God, Fromm saw this as a call to live up to our highest potential, not as a statement about divine biology. Symbols, myths, and rituals, when understood humanistically, can serve as tools for growth rather than chains of submission. By this point in his book, Fromm makes it clear: religion is not going away, nor should it. The real question is whether our religions, traditional or modern, are authoritarian or humanistic. Will they enslave us with fear and obedience, or will they help us grow into freedom and love? Psychoanalysis is not the enemy of religion, but its ally, provided that religion is interpreted in its humanistic form. Fromm ends this section with a challenge. He warns that modern society is drifting toward new authoritarian religions disguised as secular values. Nationalism, consumerism, and the cult of technology all threaten to dominate the human spirit. The task of psychoanalysis is to uncover these hidden devotions, while the task of humanistic religion is to offer healthier alternatives. Only together can they help humanity avoid self-destruction and move toward a future rooted in love, reason, and hope. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.